That is sad. That is really sad. For audio listeners who can't see what I'm pointing at, the wall in my background where I usually have the Carlton frame, it just fell on Sunday night, while I was at the house, which is just like it's just a white spot now with a little lonely sticky hook, and it's a bit sad, but also not important. It is Thursday at 2:39 p.m. And as I open the trade tracker and refresh it just one more time, just in case, nothing has happened in this trade period since Tuesday at 1:33 p.m. when Jack Graham moved to the Eagles as a free agent. So nothing is happening. And that's why I sit down here on a Thursday at 2 p.m. and I'm like, oh, we could put this out tomorrow because is anything even going to happen today? Probably not. Um, it's just a bit slow. I mean, we'll talk about what's happened in this podcast so far, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Lucky we're doing a season review because this podcast would be a little bit bare if we didn't. But in saying that, welcome to episode 9 of Footy and Stuff. If you're new here, I'm Brandon. If you're not new here, welcome back. Um, let's just hop into it. Let's hop into it. What do we do first? What do we do first? Because we got trade news, we got a little bit of other news, and we got the season review. I think we do news first. Just get it out of the way, and then we can laugh at me for saying dumb stuff at the start of the year. So to start off, we'll leave trades for a second. Joe Danaher, within about 5 minutes of me releasing the podcast last Thursday, did announce his retirement. Even though I said in the pod, oh, I hope he continues, and he hasn't said anything, so maybe he will continue. No, no. So he's gone. Congratulations to Joe, absolute star. Will be missed at the Lions. Good way to go out as well. And also Levi Casbolt retired. Obviously not as good as Joe Danaher, but I like Levi a lot. As a Carlton fan, I like him a lot. He's a proper football person, Levi Casbolt. So sad to see him go as well. And that's about all there is in that realm. We can jump straight into trades and free agency. Okay, so let's go through some of the deals that aren't. I'm not really going to talk a lot about. Himmelberg to the Suns as a free agent is done. Nick Haynes to the Blues as a free agent. I like it a lot, and it's done. Tom Campbell to the D's as a free agent is also done. Jack Darling goes to the Roos for picks 57, which I think is a good deal. And Alex Nilborn as well, we've talked a little bit about. I won't talk a ton about that. He goes to the Crows for pick 28. Now, I want to talk about Jack Graham. So he goes to the Eagles as a free agent. Fine. Great. The Tigers receive pick 42 as compensation. On my notes here, I've got Jack Graham to the Eagles, FA. Tigers receive pick 42, brackets, what the heck? Because as I was writing it down, I'm like, how did the AFL get away with only giving them pick 42? I understand how contracts work and stuff like that, and if the contract and if their contract isn't worth as much, they're obviously not going to get a bigger pick than another club might get for a similar player. But this is all I have to compare it to. So you got Isaac Cumming that went to the Crows. The Giants will receive pick 21 for that, so halfway further up the order. Harry Perryman goes to the Pies as a free agent. The Giants receive pick 15. No, 16, sorry, for that. And Josh Battle goes to the Hawks as a free agent, and the Saints receive pick 8. Now, I do understand that Jack Graham is on a lot less money than Battle has and will be, a lot less money than Harry Perryman will be. You're talking, I think all 4 of these players, if I'm not mistaken, are 26 years of age. All 4 of them. And Jack Graham, arguably, out of the 4, maybe not as much Josh Battle because he's a key defender and he's probably the best year of the 4, but Jack Graham out of the other 3, Graham, Cumming, Perryman, is probably worth the most. Like, I think he's the best player out of the 3. So I just think the Tigers haven't gotten a very good deal here. Band 4 compensation for someone who I have a screenshot somewhere. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's on my computer or on my phone or whatever. But if I find it, I'll put it on screen now for YouTube viewers. Jack Graham, stats wise, is pretty much on par with Harry Perryman last season. And that's in a down year for the Eagles, where they played a similar amount of games for a down year for the Tigers, rather, where they played similar game time between the two clubs. Pick 16 versus pick 42 for these two players, I think is insane. And again, I get Harry Perriman's contract commands a lot more compensation going the Giants' way because they're losing what is now a $900,000 player. I said last week that's ridiculous anyway, so that should just aid my point even more. But 42 is insane. Look, it is what it is, honestly. There are probably details that I am not aware of that make this a little bit more understandable, but I still think pick 42 for Jack Graham at the point of his career that he's at. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Was there anything else to go over there? We mentioned coming to the Crows for pick 21, Perryman to the Pies. I'm not going to keep batting on about that, but that's still a bad deal. But the Giants get pick 16 for that, so good on them. And then Battle to the Hawks. Yeah, their defense is going to be really good next year. Josh Battle's a good player. A good player. Saints receive pick 8 for that though, which I is a high pick for that. For that. But then again, North got pick 1 for Ben Mackay last year, so who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's be done with all that because nothing else has happened. It's insane. It's insane that nothing else has happened here. I just refreshed again. Still nothing. 2 days ago was the last move. Um, She'll put trade radio on in the background there, and we'll just listen to it together and see if anything's close to happening. But no, um, dreadful. Okay, let's move into this season review then. I purposely avoided this video until I did this. I made this on House of Footy last year with Jacko and Cal. Um, and I definitely said some stupid stuff in there, some really dumb stuff. But we're gonna watch it and we're just gonna dissect it, see how I did. Me having not watched it till now means I'm gonna have to flick through it a little bit, which will make it hard for me in the edit, but it'll be nice and smooth for you guys. So let's see how we do here. So what we'll do is we will go through ladder predictions first, then we'll do the awards and those types of categories, um, and that'll be it. I'm scared. I'm really scared, but let's do it.
I don't think we spend too much time on them. They just in a rough patch. They got a lot to turn around, and you've pretty much wrapped it all up in a nice little bow.
In saying that, though, they do have some very good young talent, and if they show a bit of something this year, I think it won't be long before they climb up the ladder. It's a very good football club, a very well-run football club. So, yeah, 18th for now, but it could come together really quickly. Who knows? But
Yeah, like they do have Harley Reid coming in, so that'll be very exciting to see him, Oscar Allen, and talk about some of the good things there. It'll be nice to see Oscar Allen.
yeah, look, not an awful prediction. I think a lot of people would have had them bottom, to start the year. All three of us obviously did. Is what it is. Not too mad about this prediction at all. Decent start. Okay start. I fully agree. I think they've got plenty of good experience in the team still, but I think we're going to see a lot of young kids come through, and it's definitely a transitional period for them. One thing I will say is I think Adam Uze is a very good coach, or he will be a very good coach. This could easily turn into a GWS story where they just steamroll everyone and prove us wrong and potentially make the eight, Yeah.
Yeah,
like because they've got that top end experience that GWS had. So I don't know how the rest of the team's going to adjust, but yeah, I think the transition that they're in, and I think the footy that they're going to be playing, they're going to have a tough time. So yeah, I fully agree
One
with everything
player.
you said. So I had Richmond 17th. They came bottom, and I was very right about that transitional period and all that stuff and stuff we could have expected. Then I started talking about top end talent, and well, they're all gone now. They're all going. They're all going. So they're definitely not a GWS at all anymore because that sort of like Baker's gone. Graham is definitely gone, obviously. Rioli's going to be gone. Dusty's gone. They're pretty much left with like Nankervis, Vlaston, Broad, Leach, and then a lot of kids. A lot of kids around them. Taranto's there as well. Hopper. But yeah, I mean, not awful.
Moving up to 16th, I'll back up everything you just said because I've got them in 16th. And again, it's such a tough one because realistically, they should be getting better. Like they've got a lot of pieces in place, a lot of really good top end talent, but I just don't think
Said it.
compared to the teams I've got above them, the list is good enough. And as you said, they've lost more players off the back of last season. I do like that midfield. I think those players are unbelievable, but I just think that next level is just a little bit better. It could bite me because they have those stars there. But yeah, who have you guys got in 16th?
It bit me. I mean, they didn't make finals. Let's clarify that. But they were top four for a lot of the year. Just fell short. Looked very good. And I literally spoke about the midfield and the talent that they have and how they should be improving. And I still put them 16th. Still put them bottom four. God. If that's anything to go off of, we're in for one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just doing a lot of following up from you as we move to 15th because I've got the Bulldogs there. Everything you said. It's a contentious one because that midfield is unbelievable at times, but the rest is just not good enough. And I that's how I felt last year when I put them in 11th. I think I feel that to a larger extent this year where it's just gonna really struggle against those good teams and those good forward lines, especially with that defense. But who have you boys got in 15th?
It started well. It started looking like they were that struggler. And the defense as well really wasn't holding up. And then it all just clicked. It all just clicked. They beat us. They beat the Swans. They were beating everyone. Yeah, top four shout next year maybe. We'll get to that when it comes to it. But yeah, wrong, wrong, wrong.
I've got North Melbourne there, so I'll start off. I had them as low as 17th. But I went to their scratch match against Collingwood last week, and what I saw, usually I'm not convinced by one match like that, and I know Collingwood were missing a lot of players, so perhaps it's silly, but they looked very nice. And I think they have enough quality in their list and the game plan that they played. I think they can pull together a season similar to what we saw from Hawthorn last year, where they just like they're really showing those signs, getting those shock wins on the board. I think they're going to be really improved this year, and it's going to be enough to pull them out of the bottom four. So I've got North in 14th.
It's not awful. It's not an awful shout from me. And what I mean by that is like it's bad in the sense that I had them 14th, they finished 17th. That's just at face value, that's what that is. But what I said about them having that kind of, at least at the back end of the year, they had this kind of those kind of performances where they were showing what they're made of a little bit more, shocking teams or pushing teams. It kind of happened. They just weren't winning those games. Like realistically, they win that Collingwood game. There were a couple of other really close ones. Melbourne, I think, they could have pushed themselves up later. They had the opportunity to do that. So kind of, but also why am I talking about a scratch match in a season predictions video? That was just, oh mate, I'd hate to see my face back when I heard myself say that.
Very good. And this is where Hawthorn land for me. So I won't speak too much on Hawthorn too quickly because you've pretty much covered most of it. I do think the injuries will hurt them early in the year. I also think that their list as a whole, when it's fit, is structured very well. And I think, particularly towards the back end of the year, they're really going to show more of that good footy that they showed at times last year. And I think they'll be fine. They'll start their climb. Jacko, what have you got on North?
Nothing I said was incorrect. Why are they 13th? Look, okay, it's probably reasonable that I put them 13th based on where they were the year before that, an expectation and whatnot, but nothing I said was wrong. Injury hurt them at the start of the year. They started very slow, eased into the year. They then finished seventh, I think. Sixth, seventh, something like that. So they obviously finished a lot better than I expected them to finish. Nothing I said was wrong, and that's the most annoying bit about this prediction. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, I don't think they've necessarily improved at all. And while that top end talent is still very good, we talk about it every year, and now that they have missed finals, we can touch on it again. They are getting older, and they have to find a way to adapt from that. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think, yeah, 12th is kind of that separator, as you said, and that's where I think they'll end up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good. Geelong are old. Well, hey, I'm creative. Shut up. Shut up. That was so good. Uh, I mean, preliminary final. What more can you say? Oh boy. Oh boy. Bad one. Bad one. We've had a real stretch of just like either head scratching decision making or just really plain bad um predictions. But we can keep moving.
Very fair.
Well,
We've obviously got the Bombers. I think we're going to see a general improvement from the Bombers this year, and I know we've got them in the same space that they finished last year in 11th. But I think they've got a lot of recruits that are going to settle in. The team looks a little more complete because of those players. I think we're going to see some decent footy. Obviously, first half of last year they were really good, dropped off massively. I think it's going to be more consistent across the year, and
No.
we'll see them sort of land in that same position. Jacko, what do you think?
I mean, look, I was obviously very, very good prediction as a whole. I was just wrong about the bit where I thought they'd be a bit more consistent in terms of like spreading their wins across the year. It was exactly the same as the year before where they finished 11th. First half of the year, outstanding, top four. Second half, poo, absolute poo. But I got it right, so I'm taking it, and we're moving on.
Moving on to 10th, and I'll pretty much just follow on from what Cal said because I've got Gold Coast. I won't speak too long. They're pretty much, I'll back up everything that Cal went with. I think they're going to be a lot better under Dimmer, but it's still going to take a little bit of time, and I think they'll just fall short in the end.
There's a lot of depth in that prediction, clearly. Oh, they didn't even finish that high, so um, the prediction itself isn't right, but they were better under Dimmer. They did give it a better crack at times. They were just awful away. When they clean up that away form, should be competing. So we'll see what happens next year. Not awful. Better than a lot of the other ones we've just seen. So
Okay, I'll start off because I need to lead into my one. I ummed
I
and
know
ahed
who I
about
put here.
this all week, and especially after the match against Carlton last night as we record. I've got Melbourne in ninth, which was very difficult. I'll roll with that now. I love their midfield. I want to put that out there. I think their midfield is still potentially a top four midfield in the league. Everywhere else for me,
They might have been. They might have been with track there, but he wasn't there for half the year and kind of ruined them in the end. What did they finish? 13th? 14th? I don't remember.
it kind of goes downhill. And everyone bats on about their forward line. I also think their back line isn't as good as the eight teams above them, which is a big one. The start of their season looks very difficult. They've got games against Sydney, Adelaide, and Port, those two at Adelaide Oval, and Brisbane in their first six. If they start off poorly, say a 1-5, a 2-4, that is a lot more pressure. The two double straight set exits are certainly weighing on their mind, I'd imagine. And the media attention, like we have to talk about it, whether it's right or wrong, it's gonna weigh on them if it continues, and it will continue. And I just think all those things combined, particularly the fact that I don't think their list is as good anymore. I just have them missing. Again, someone has to miss. And yeah, I put Melbourne in ninth.
I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. I don't know how they started the year because I was talking about that start against the Crows, who weren't even that good anyway. I just realized I have the Crows in the top eight. Crows, Power, they played the Lions, they played the Swans. I don't think they started very well. But no. Yeah. Media attention. Didn't think the list was as good as it was. Touted to be. All that stuff kind of rang true. Would they have finished higher if Track had played the whole second half of the year? Maybe, because they were kind of in that area prior to that. But yeah, no. I'm very happy with this. I mean, they finished lower than where I had them, so and it was a big call at the start of the season. A lot of people did do it and did say it, but a lot of people scoffed at it as well. So I'll take it. I'm happy with it.
And this is where I have the Adelaide Crows. I'll just go off the back of what Jacko said before with Adelaide. I toyed with leaving them out of the eight, like he did, and I do think that there is a chance that they're just that little bit off
A little bit,
where
just a
the
little bit.
general public is expecting them to be. But I just think they'll be good. They've got really good players all over the lineup. Their Adelaide Oval dominance, I think, serves them very well as well. And yeah, they could be a lot higher. They could need one more year, but I think I like them in that eighth spot.
I don't hate my call about the playing group. Like, I think they still have very good players, and they should be doing better. But yeah, Lord, my bad. It's on me.
It's also where I have Port Adelaide, so I think we can roll with them first. I think they've probably been a victim of just how competitive I think it'll be above them, in my opinion. I don't think they'll get much worse. As Cal touched on before, I think they did drop off massively at the back end of last year, and that probably affected their positioning a bit. And yeah, I just don't think they'll be much worse. I don't know if they'll be much better. It's just going to be those teams above them, I think, are just a little bit better than them. And I think this is where they'll end up falling because of that. Jacko, do you agree with that sentiment?
It's a bad prediction. It is a bad prediction in and of itself. Again, it's one of those ones that like they finished second. I put them seventh. It's bad, but I don't hate what I'm saying because I like they didn't really get much worse. Did they even get much better? Like they finished top four twice, so they're kind of still a very similar team. It was just more I put teams above them that I expected to be better that weren't throughout the season. Yeah, is what it is. I'd probably do it again in hindsight. Like I'm not shocked that was my prediction because they didn't really do as much to show that they'd maintain that top four position anyway. It's okay. I'll cop that one. Oh, we got a stinker coming. We have a stinker.
Fair. I've got Saints. Finished sixth last year, so many people have them dropping out, but I just don't see where they get much worse. Do they necessarily push up? Obviously not because I have them in the same spot. But Liam Henry comes in, looks very good.
Injured,
Max King looks fit.
injured.
Jack Steele's firing on all
Hey, he was good.
cylinders again. I think they've also generally been one of the better backlines in the comp. It's been
Sure.
their attacking power where they've kind of fallen short. So if they improve that, I don't think they drop. So yeah, sixth again for me. I won't go on too much longer about them.
They were very good defensively again. I don't know where they ranked in the end for points against, just purely points against. Um, Let me have a look. 1,758. So Frio were better and Port were better and the Lions were better and the Dogs were better. So they were fifth for points against. Um, yeah, apart from that, I mean, I cited Liam Henry as being a big move. He was injured for half the year. I cited Max King as someone who would be on the improve. He was injured for not half the year, but he when he wasn't injured, he wasn't very good anyway. I don't think I'll be trusting the Saints this much anytime soon. Not good. Not good. I do apologize, Saints fans.
Me and Jacko have GWS, obviously. I think back into last year, they were outstanding. Adam Kingsley really impressed me, and I think they can easily back it up with a higher ladder position and another really competitive season. Jacko, do you agree?
Good prediction. Really good prediction. They finished fourth, so they went one higher. But yeah, jumped up the ladder, maintained that form, looked like a force. Pat on the back to me, and there aren't many.
I'll take it away with Sydney. Underperformed last year with those injuries. A lot of it was out of their hands. I think they're very solid across the board. In terms of list quality, Parker and Mills injuries could hurt a little bit at the start of the year. I wonder how that midfield's going to set up without them. But they have easily more than enough to be real consistent and real challengers as well. Could finish as high as first, as we said. So yeah, I think they were underdone massively last year, and Sydney are going to be great. Carl, what do you got?
Yeah, yeah. I should have put them higher. Obviously, they finished first. But everything I said was true. All massively underdone. Looked very good when the pieces started falling back into place at the back end of last year. Like hugely injured in that middle portion of that year. They're a good football team with good players, and they did good things this year because they had generally a full team. Um, so yeah, good. not mad about it. Should have put them higher though.
Fully agreed. I've got Brisbane in third. I think their list is in a great spot once again. I don't have any concerns about being a contender once again. Big question mark. Obviously, every year it's the question mark is the away form, and that probably is what keeps them out of the top two for me. But third is still another great effort. They've made some good recruitment moves. I just think that they're going to be brilliant again.
The away form wasn't really the question mark in the end, but everything else I said was kind of on the money. What was the issue in the end that caused them to finish fifth? Um, was that start to the year. They were just poor everywhere. It wasn't even away form. They were losing games at the Gabba to Carlton and Collingwood and whoever else. No, they won the flag, so I mean, sure. Yeah, not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it.
100%. I've obviously got the Blues. Yous have both pretty much covered them really well, I think. They're primed to back up what they did second half of last year. It was immense. I think Cal touched on the depth quite well. I think there is a good group of players in every area of the field, and I think they're ready to make a lot more noise than what they did last year. So I think, yeah, I'm happy having them second.
A lot of that was confidence speaking, wasn't it? I wasn't necessarily wrong. We should have done better. We should have done better. Um, that's just sad to watch, to be honest, because disappointing, disappointing. I think we can do it next year, but yeah, this year was not the one, not the one. Really should have given it a better crack, and we didn't. And we finished eighth. And we got bundled out by the Premiers. So here's what it is. Not good, not good. Oh, there's only one team left. Oh boy.
Collingwood for me. I'm not making the same mistake I did last year, putting him 10th. I'm just not doing
What did they finish? What did they finish? Ninth. Ah, they'd finished 10th. So for context, for those who don't know, 2022 we did this video as well. Sorry, 2023, started 2023. We did this video and I put them 10th. I put Collingwood 10th and they won the flag. And then this video I put them first and they've
it. They play the best game style in the competition. They've got a list full of outstanding football players, an amazing coach with a brilliant game plan. They're just first for me. I don't have anything more to say on it. Jacko, please take.
Mm. It's just so annoying. It's so annoying because I would have loved to drop them out again, but like there was just no thought in my brain that they'd fall out because it's everything I said there. They still have a brilliant list of players, a fantastic coach, terrific game plan, and it just didn't. They got worked out, I think. At many points last year, they got worked out. Ah, so I got to be careful about where I put them next year now because I put them 10th when they won the flag. I put them first when they came ninth. That's really funny. That's really funny. All right, let's get into the little awards and the fun categories and the stuff like that because this is where it gets good at times, but also a little bit dumb at times too. Let's do that. Headline you will see in 2024. Oh boy.
I do want to preface this by saying, obviously, I do have them in seventh. So we have to keep that in mind when we think about the back half of the
I
year.
remember what this is.
But my headline is related to round six. Fried pies. Port Adelaide shocks Collingwood to make it 6-0.
6-0.
Port Adelaide shocks Collingwood to make it 6-0. Let's go to the fixture and let's read through how that one went. We'll sort by Port Adelaide. So, I know they lost that game to Collingwood by 42 points. So they weren't 6-0. However, beat the Eagles, beat the Tigers, lost to the Demons, beat the Bombers, beat the Dockers. So they went into that game 4-1. Could have made it 5-1, ended up making it 4-2. They started the season well. So I guess that kind of makes me not awfully stupid but it's wrong. So that's that's a cross mark, I guess. Um, nope, nope.
6-0 for Port Adelaide. This is their run at the start of the
Wow.
year. West Coast and Richmond, who are my bottom two teams.
Should beat them.
Melbourne in Adelaide, which is the one where they could slip up in the meantime.
You'd probably
Essendon,
still give it to them.
Fremantle, and then it's the Collingwood game. So I'm expecting them to run into Collingwood at 5-0, and then they just have to win that. Now, I know
You
last
said-
year I made a 6-0 prediction, and it went terribly.
They lost round one.
They did lose round one, the Dockers. Thank you very much.
So I have a knack for doing these 6-0 predictions. I did it with Freo the year before, and they lost their first game, and they just started awfully. Yeah. Look, we'll move on. We will move on. Set for a breakout season. I remember who I put here. Oh,
I've gone with a bomber, a
Cal
former
put
bomber
Massimo.
teammate
That's
of Massimo
Yep.
D'Ambrosio. Zach Reed,
Zach Reed.
the big man in defense. I think with a couple of injuries in their tall stocks, I think he should get games quite early. And I think he'll be quite good. He injuries have stuffed him early in his career. He's only played, I think, 8 games in his career, but he was very good in the first half of that match sim that they played against the Saints. I think he'll be very good this year. We'll see some nice footy from him in an improved Bombers outfit as a whole, I think. So yeah, Zach Reed for me.
He was very good in preseason. He was very good in preseason. I have to say that. Like even after I said this on video, there were a couple of preseason games, and he was good. He went out in round one to play the Hawks, started the game, then he got injured, and he didn't play again. So he's now played 9 AFL games. And I still think he's a good player. He just can't stay fit. Like he got back into the VFL. I think he got injured in the VFL after he came back this year. So it's just, man. Look, I won't be picking him next year. I can assure you this. Oh boy, let's just go to the next one. What is it? Recruit of the year. Let's do that. Cal had Schultz. Jacko had Tom Duday. A pair of not very good calls there. I think I won this one.
I've also gone very safe with mine. We spoke about Brodie Grundy before and what
Yeah.
he's going to bring to Sydney. For me, it's him. I think he takes them to that next level. They haven't really had that brilliant ruck in so long, and I think
Yeah.
he's going to be the guy.
I was very right about that. He did take them to the next level. They haven't had that ruck in a long time, and he was very good. He was very good this year. Perhaps tailed off with them a little bit in that slump, but they all did. I think he was a bit stiff to not be in the All-Australian 40 at least, considering I had him in my 23. I had him in my 23. I think he's a very good player. A very good player. Was he recruit of the year? Massimo will be up there. I'm sure there's someone I'm forgetting, but yeah, no. Good call from me. Good call. What's the next one? The next one is a surprise All-Australian. Who did I put for this? Let's have a look.
Right in that spot where you probably have Zach Bailey, I have Sam Flanders from the Gold Coast Suns.
Ah,
He's just like that last, I want to say 5 games, maybe 6 or 7 games last year. He was outstanding, and I think he's going to put that together over 24 games this year.
Yeah.
And I think that'll get him a spot on the half forward flank. I feel like a lot of people are overlooking him, in terms of the best sort of mid forwards in the comp. I think everyone's going to know this guy's name by the end of the year. I think the way Dimmer used to operate with Dusty Martin, that is the type of role.
all right, we're going to stop it there because I'm talking about things that didn't really materialize because he wasn't really playing that role. Got moved to half back, was just racking up touches off half back. Like he was outstanding this year. He was good. I need to say this is a good pick. I don't think he made the 40 in the end, but I might have had him in there. Did he make the 40? Tappa, 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 tappa. 44-person squad. The 44, not the 40. Gold Coast Suns. He didn't make the 44, but he could have easily made it, and he was very good. So obviously got moved to halfback, as I said, and by the end of the year, he was playing a lot more midfield time, not really much forward time at all. So he's not that player anymore. which I mean maybe made it harder for him to get in because he was competing with midfielders and halfback flanks and that. But he's very good, so I'll take it. It's a good call. I might. He wouldn't necessarily be as much of a surprise next year. I wonder if he qualifies next year, but I won't be boring. I'm not going to pick him again. Very good though. Very good player. Still. Next up, Rising Star. Okay, so obviously the Rising Star Award was won by Ollie Dempsey. None of us picked Ollie Dempsey. I can tell you that now. Who did I pick? I think I know.
Well, on that note, I'll follow up from you because I've got Colby McKercher. I had him before I asked you about George Wardlaw, and I didn't really want to change it after because I think I imagine Colby, he was very good against Collingwood, firstly, very good. I imagine he's probably going to play that role off halfback, similar to what Sheasel did last year, in an improved North Melbourne side, in my opinion, anyway. I think he's going to be outstanding, and it'll be enough to get him the award. I thought about Harley Reid, but I think he's going to struggle at times in a West Coast side that really is not going to be that good, in my opinion, and that'll kind of not help him in the end. But Harley Reid is an absolute superstar, and if he wins it, not surprised in the slightest. Cal, who have you got?
Yeah, well, I was very wrong about Harley there. He didn't struggle or didn't seem to struggle at all, and he probably would have won the award had he not been suspended. McKercher would have been a lot higher up there as well, but he missed a bit of time due to injury. So I'm happy with the call. What was the other thing I said? I keep talking about that scratch match. I got no preseason talk next year. That's my rule. I need to cut that out because it is not reflective. But me saying that, I know I'm gonna get sucked in again. Anyway, McKercher, not bad. Not bad for me. I'll take it. Coleman medal. Oh no, I definitely know who I put there. So for context, this comes right after Cal says that he has picked Max King as his Coleman medalist.
I mean, yeah, you've got people like Kerno and Tex last year kicking 4 goals a game, and it sort of puts that stat to shame. But I don't think anyone's kicking 70 plus goals in a year anytime soon.
I've sat here in silence because I also have Max King.
What are we doing? What are we even
Yes.
doing?
Halt. Let me explain. It really rests on him having a full season and a consistent season at that. If he gets injured, it's cooked because he's really struggled with those injuries. But I think, as I said before, I think the Saints are going to be good. That's the first one. I think they're going to improve their attacking game, which helps. He's their number one sole target. That's something that I think a lot of other candidates, when you look at Charlie Curnow with Harry Mackay next to him, Jezza Cameron as with Tom Hawkins next to him.
I'm just gonna stop it. I don't want to listen to it anymore. If- well, firstly, he didn't have that full year, so that's one. He injured again, didn't get the full run at it. He was also not very good before the injury, so that is not the excuse that I might think it is. Wasn't really their sole target either. I don't know why I cited that as a reason because they do have other forward targets. Mitch Owens is there, Tim Member is there when he's fit. Cooper Sharman plays there. Like they have tools. It's just not a good call at all. He's now one of those players, and I think he should have been one of those players last year. But he's now one of the players where you can't really back him in anymore until he properly shows it. So until he comes in and has a full season, and whether he wins it or not, kicks those 50 goals or really gives it a proper crack, I can't back him in anymore as a key forward. Like we saw it with Charlie Curnow. Charlie Curnow had those 2 years off with that knee, came back, won a Coleman, announced himself, and then he was fair game to back in as one of the best in the comp. Max King needs to do that now. Otherwise, I'm just not. He's not in my consider. He's not in my eye line anymore. Ah, not good. Not good. Let's just move on before I cry. Brownlow medal. Let's go.
Yep, very fair. I was tossing up between three. It was Errol, Nick Dacos, and the player I've gone with. Also a bit of a heart pick, but you can back it up with stats easily. It's Sam Walsh for me.
Before I speak, pick the wrong player. I picked the wrong player. Ah, could have just gone Cripper, and it would have been equally as biased. Anyway,
This guy is coming off the back of the best final series I've ever seen from a player when you consider the fact that he didn't play in the grand final. Insane. Ridiculous. I think he's the first player to ever win that award um, without playing in the grand final. That's just how good his 3 games before that were. I think, um, obviously, again, preseason a little bit interrupted with this back complaint that he's had, but I expect him to play opening round, and if he pulls together that full season, I think it's a wrap. So I won't talk too much more on that.
didn't
Cal?
play opening round. Didn't pull together the full season. When he got back, he was good. Had a good year. I think he polled 16 votes. In the end, something around there. Cripper was just unbeatable. In that team. So would Walsh have polled more votes? Without Patrick Cripps there, maybe. Yeah, I should have just gone Cripper. Would have been equally as biased. Um, but I would have been correct. So yeah, yeah. What's next? The grand final. Let's do this. So this is my runner-up, and then we got my premier. Let's do it.
I also have Carlton as the runner-up. My heart says we're going to win the flag this year. My head says it's going to be just one step at a time. The prelim, then the grand final loss, and then the big win, hopefully next year. But I think everything you just said, we're going to be a great football side. I think Carlton are ready to make more noise, but I think they'll just fall just that little bit short in the end, whether it's due to experience.
Stop. I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah, look, again, it was like it wasn't unreasonable for me to be saying any of what I said there. Cal also had us in the grand final. It wasn't unreasonable for us to be saying that because a lot of it was hope and us having watched what the team has done, knowing what we're capable of, so on and so forth. As I said, maybe next year. Except I talked about the progression and the one step at a time, and maybe it's not as linear as I thought. Prelim, elimination final. It's a bit of a inconsistent path. It's fine. Let's just move on. I actually don't even want to hear the rest of what I have to say there. Premiers, because I want to hear this one. This one's better. Let's do this one.
I'll jump in there because I've also got Brisbane beating Carlton in the grand final. I think it was tough leaving Collingwood out, and I feel like I have to explain myself there. So the way my ladder is set out, I've got Carlton beating Brisbane in that first final, sending Brisbane to the other side to face Collingwood eventually in a prelim. And I think that's where Brisbane get their revenge. What I will say is if Collingwood were to win that prelim, I think they'd also beat us in the grand final, which I hate saying. I just think we're just 1 year off it.
It's just so funny that I'm doing this and I'm talking about these three teams as being the main contenders, and two of them just weren't in the calculations at all. Obviously, we were in finals, but got knocked out very early by Brisbane, ironically, and Collingwood just were not there. So this is very funny to listen to in hindsight. That's what my head tells me anyway. Brisbane, as you said before, Cal, when putting them top of the ladder, they're just ready and they deserve it, and their list is primed. I they're my premiers this year. Not much more to say about it. Audio listeners, my arms are in the air. Perfect. It was perfect. We got there in the end. So many bad calls, but the last one was the best one. They were ready, they were primed to do it, and they deserved it. And they did it. Oh boy, can I be done with this? Is there anything else? Nah, oh, we're done. We're done with predictions. I got Brisbane as premiers. I got a couple of decent calls along the way. I think overall it was a dreadful year of predictions. But I think a lot of people had that. I think a lot of people had that. Oh boy. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's end this episode with a little quiz. We'll go back to the Gridley because why not? So, it's a Todd Goldstein themed Gridley. What have we got? Let's start at the top. We've got Essendon, North Melbourne, 195 centimeters or taller, most Brownlow votes for a team, Todd Goldstein, teammate, and 20 hitouts in a game. Is this one had the most Brownlow votes for their team in at least one season? Okay. Okay. We can do this. Where do we start? We'll start bottom right because this can be any ruckman. So any player 195 centimeters or taller that has had 20 hitouts in a game. Now, when I have the whole league at my fingertips, I like to go Carlton because it feels like what I know the most. I'm going to start with Robbie Warnock. 0.9%. It's a good start. What are we shooting for? 20 again? I don't remember what I got when I beat 20 last time. It would have been like 13 or 14. Um, but we'll shoot for 20 again. A Todd Goldstein teammate who's 195 centimeters or taller. So there's the current ones, obviously, Draper, Bryan, Harry Jones. They're all very obvious. I'll come back to it because I'll be putting a North player there. 20 hitouts in a game, Essendon. Zach Clark springs to mind instantly, and it might not be a good pick. 3%. Could be worse. North 20 hitouts in a game, obviously Goldie. Well, yeah, we'll leave it for now. We'll have a think. Bombers, most Brownlow votes for their team. Bombers, Goldstein teammate. Let's do that one. Could be anyone. A Goldstein teammate at the Bombers. Or someone who's played for the Bombers. So it could be someone who was at North who moved to the Bombers before Goldie got there. I think I actually like that path a little bit more. I would just need to think of a player. Goldstein teammate, Bombers. Could also go Goldstein teammate, Bruce. And that could be anyone. Like I could put like Nathan Horvat for that and be done. 0.7%. Good pick. Goldie Bombers. Goldie Bombers. Goldie Bombers. There's someone who played for the Bombers and the Roos, but was at the Bombers. Sorry, I'm confusing myself here. I might just put a current Bombers player because it's actually hurting my head. Who's he played with this year? Archie Roberts. 3%. Could be better. Could be better, but we'll take it. And a tall boy who has played with Goldie. 195 or taller, played with Todd Goldstein. Petrie. Surely Justin Madden or like Simon Madden had the most votes for their team in a year. I'd want to take a punt at Simon Madden, honestly. Yeah, that's good. 2%. I didn't need to stick with the Essendon there, but I did anyway. Which means I could have really gone him there. Essendon most Brownlow votes team, so I have to think of someone now. 79 possible answers, so it's pretty much any of their good players. Timmy Watson, James Hird, Job Watson, Matty Lloyd might have 1 year. Really like a Mark McCurry. It's a good pick. It's 2%. What am I on right now? 3, 6, 8, 8.7, 9.5, 11.5. So I've got a bit to work with here. Most Brownlow votes for North. Shawnee Higgins might have done it 1 year. It's good. Could that be for any team? For their team. So it could just be like at a different club. Well, I've done the whole row now, so it's fine. Goldie, 195 or taller. Cal Coleman Jones, I feel like will be high. It's all Scotty Thompson. He's not. Okay, undo that. That never happened. Benny Brown. 6%. Oh, that's ruined me. I think that's done me in. That's silly. 20 hitouts in a game. for North to finish. Yeah, I think I've ruined myself with that Ben Brown one. I think we're above 20. So I may as well just go with anyone. And I think I'm gonna go Cal Coleman Jones. 2.6%. Yeah, I was literally on 19.9 when I got Ben Brown. So it had to be perfect. Um, and we finished on 22.5, which isn't great. And with that, that spells an end to episode 9 of Footy and Stuff. Not as much trade talk as I would have hoped this week. Not much has really been happening, as we said. Lucky we had a season review, so we could unpack some stuff a little bit, have a laugh at me because I am dumb, and I will continue to be dumb next year, undoubtedly. But aside from that, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, at 40 Stuff Pod, and on the personal TikTok as well. Clips will be there as well as Instagram. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a follow and a rating. Everything helps. I'll be back next week with a lot more trade news, hopefully, because the pod will come out likely after the deadline is over. But until then, enjoy your weekends, enjoy your weeks next week, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.